Welcome to Scramble Game Show. Today, we again have a guest in our show in the first half an hour, and this show will be on the topic of music and technology. The guest that is today is from Somers Middle School, a music teacher, Mr. Steve Chetcuti. I think some of you probably seen him around, and he has taught music many years and conduct the music marching band in school in various functions. And we would like to hear from him how the music lessons are taught in school, and what are the opportunities for kids to get involved in music in the modern days, how technology is involved in the music, okay? So let's welcome Mr. Chetcuti.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, this show is strictly for kids and families. We play word games, entertain them, but we also invite people in to, sort of expand our scope to touch upon other subjects. And today, we're so glad that you can be here. We really like to hear from you how music, is taught in our Somers schools.
Well, when I first came to Somers in 1987, there was a band and a chorus. There was no orchestra. Mm-hmm. We've now expanded to a 6th grade band, a 7th and 8th grade band, a string orchestra, a chamber orchestra, a 6th grade chorus,
wow,
a 7th and 8th grade chorus, a jazz ensemble, a fife and drum group, and then all of those are echoed in the high school program. So we've really grown.
Wow, that's, yes. We actually had the chamber musicians were on our show before, so we're looking forward to inviting musicians to our shows to perform and entertain our community.
It is a great opportunity.
Yeah. So today we would like to spend a little bit of time to know more about you yourself as a teacher, and I know you're passionate about music and passionate about teaching. So what can you tell us about the middle school teaching?
Well, the first thing I have to say is that I'm very lucky that I work in a town that supports the arts so strongly. Everywhere from the Primrose little kindergarten singing concerts all the way through the high school. There is community support, mm-hmm, administrative support, parental support. Students are always active. There's also, besides the traditional programs, there's also a very vibrant theater program. They, mm-hmm, have middle school musicals, high school musicals, some very talented youth in our school district.
Yeah, and now with our school facility get improved with auditorium and so on, and that also help certainly these music programs.
Well, I have to say I am in musical heaven right now. I have a new teaching facility, a new band room. There's also a new orchestra room and a new auditorium at the middle school, and it really shows the community and their support for the arts. The kids are coming in, and every period that I'm in my room, it's always buzzing with activity. There are students on computers researching music. There are students online doing music lessons because we have online music programs. We have students forming their own little groups. One group wants to form a Beatles tribute band. Maybe we can get them to come here and play for you.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But the activity is just really encouraging for me.
Yeah, this really sometimes make me envy, because in my time as a student at that age, we really don't have this kind of privilege. I mean, hardly any facility, not even sometimes a music room. So it's very difficult for people like me to sort of get involved in music, and I probably would regret forever, and the talent is just wasted, huh?
Well, I don't think it's wasted. It was just a matter of an opportunity, and that's one of the things that I've been working on. I have a website called theradiohour.net,
yeah,
in which I started off this website to help the students in Somers, and it's grown into a national website where anybody from around the country can go online, and take harmonica lessons or guitar lessons or drum lessons or fife lessons. So I kind of has expanded it to a very large classroom.
Right. And then, of course, this is, to the benefit is the technology, advancement that it can sort of enable you to do this kind of website, right?
Absolutely.
And nowadays, kids get back from school to home, you can really do a lot more things, on their own.
But it's amazing how quickly the students adapt because they're in this media environment. They come in to the middle school, they are so media ready. And I think a lot of times the students are teaching their parents.
Yes.
It's really, really very easy to put a new environment in front of them and watch them adapt.
Yes. That's why that the people can form, sort of a small band and on their own to sort of focus on certain type of music and actually not only just entertain, enjoy for themselves, sometimes really lead to fame. You can see some examples, right?
Absolutely.
It comes nowhere, all of a sudden becomes stars.
Well, you have places like YouTube or Facebook where students can express themselves and they can get recognized. I don't think it's going to be very long before we see students having virtual band rehearsals. One drummer is going to be in California and a guitar player is going to be in
definitely.
Florida and saxophone player is going to be in Somers, New York, and they're all going to get together and play and make their CD, and they've never met.
Right. I mean, once the network bandwidth is there, synchronized performance is so simple. It's not that big a problem. So I'm dying to learn about your radiohour.net website. I heard about it, and I certainly am not familiar what you have in there. I would love to have you demonstrate through this show. Is it possible?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
So can we sort of turn on your computer and get on the first web page and you navigate and we'll talk.
Very good.
Okay?
Good.
Aha.
I'm going to close that up.
So
I
you
don't know
have
where
to
that
log
showed
in.
up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're logged in. Now, the radiohour.net, first of all, started off, the reason I have that title, The Radio Hour, is that students learn about music history not by just doing a boring book report. What I'm trying to do is get them involved in it by creating a radio show. So instead of doing a report about Beethoven, they have to research about Beethoven and then actually simulate an interview with Beethoven on their radio show. Or they're talking to President Roosevelt on the verge of war while they're listening to Duke Ellington's Take the A Train. They're making connections between Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze while Lyndon Johnson is sending troops to Vietnam, or they're selling the new Chevy Nova. So the students are making connections between music and history. It's not music separate from the rest of the curriculum. Music is a part of their core courses.
So like a glue to glue things together.
I'd like to think so, yes. So let's take a look at some of the things that students can find on the website.
Good.
First of all, from the home page, we can look at classical music. It's broken down into different eras: Baroque, classical, romantic, contemporary. Or we can look at jazz music, early jazz, swing jazz, bebop jazz, or post-bop jazz. We can also look at the history of rock, from early rock all the way up through heavy metal. We can look at, BMIA stands for the evolution of black music in America, all the way from the blues post-Civil War up through hip-hop, popular music today. My latest development has been the guitar curriculum, which is called Fretting Over Music History. Students...
This we will talk about a little later, right?
Yep. Students basically need to be active. When you talk at students, they don't always take in the information. If you give them the information and say, okay, let's do something with it, I think that they'll have a much more successful and enjoyable experience.
Right.
I want students to learn about jazz. Well, unless they've played the blues or they've actually improvised, they don't really understand what it means to be a musician. So we have the students get into little groups and they play for each other, then they play out loud. And you'd be very, very surprised at how quickly some of these kids will come out of their shell and share music.
Oh, right.
In my classes, I'll have the students use a simple harmonica. And from a simple scale, they can start making many more songs. And we teach the students to have fun with it, to express themselves through music. And that makes a little bit more of a connection between not just studying music, but creating music. Because I don't think it's really a music class unless you're making music. It's not a science class unless you're having an experiment. It's not a writing class unless you're, making a novel or a short story.
Right. So you said that very importantly is that to get them sort of get out of their shells. So like this radiohour.net type of website could be a means for kids to sort of expose to music and get out of there, right?
Yes.
And how would you say a person who not in your class as your student, anybody, say get onto your website and begin to sort of take advantage of some things that are there? How would you advise a kid to use your website?
Well, let's start off with something simple like a harmonica.
Okay, good.
And if you go to any of the websites, classical or jazz or rock, you'll notice they all say harmonica. BMIA, harmonica, guitar, harmonica. That's because there's only one harmonica page that everyone goes to. So that way, no matter what book a student is studying, they can find the harmonica. We talk about the history of the harmonica. We talk about basic notes, how to read notes, different types of harmonica, so they have some background. We have background on different players, so you can find out a little bit about Bob Dylan. And you can find out about some vocabulary words when you bring your mouse over the word. The vocabulary words pop up so they know what they're talking about with other people who are familiar with the style. They can go online and they can actually take online video lessons with how to play the harmonica. I don't know how they would load right now. I could try it and see what happens. Let's see if this will load up.
Yeah.
It might be a little slow in loading.
Since we are not really live on the internet, right?
There are two basic ways to play the harmonica.
It did come up.
One is called the pucker technique, and one is called the block technique. The first technique I'm going to teach you is called the pucker method. The pucker method means that you're going to form your lips around a single hole of the harmonica. The effect would be if I took my thumbs and covered holes 1, 2, and 3, and I took my other thumb and I covered holes 5, 6, and 7, and I have one hole left. The way we do this is by taking a single pencil or a pen, preferably a new one, and you're going to put it between your lips to form muscle memory. And you want to put the pencil between your lips and try to get your lips to feel the shape so that you can project that onto your harmonica.
Like blowing through a straw.
Exactly.
Whether you do a blow or a draw, the effect will be the same. You want to make the hole the same size as your harmonica. That is the pucker technique. The blocking technique is used by beginners because it's much easier to control your mouth. You don't have to try and make the hole smaller like when you're doing the pucker technique. You just blow normally and you use your tongue to make the hole in your mouth smaller by blocking off the excess holes, like this.
Okay, we need to move the camera a little bit so that the back button can be seen.
See the tongue right there? That's how I blocked it off.
I see. That's definitely, it's something you can sort of learn on your own. Okay. All right.
So the students get an idea of what the lesson is, and then after they get those lessons, they can apply them. And there are actual online playing examples. So the student can bring up the music.
And the music sheets and everything is there.
Yep, and it's all there so that when they start to play with it, they have someone to play with. When I was a child, I used to take saxophone lessons. And my mother used to say, go down and practice in the cellar because you're making the dog cry. So, So things have changed nowadays where you can go online,
You
put on a set of headphones,
yes.
and you're in your own little world and you make your music, and it's just a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
And we have in our classroom in the middle school, we have 6 computers in my room besides the main teaching console, where students can go on their free period, and the computers always have a line on them.
Oh.
And they're waiting, okay, it's my turn to go and play.
Right, right, right.
We also have an electronic drum set. Now, are you familiar with the game Rock Band?
No, but
Okay.
yeah.
Rock Band is like the students are simulating playing. It's a video game.
Right.
But they have these 4 little pads. I have a computer screen and an electronic drum set. The music shows up on the screen and the student plays. I could have a full class. I could be teaching a music class. This kid is practicing their drum lesson and not bothering anybody independently. So students can come in their time.
Well,
It's all about access and encouragement.
Right, right. This is all this new audio video equipment that can,
Yes.
sort of help. This is great. Well, let's get back before we forget about, you mentioned about the guitar, which I know is something that you recently acquired a grant, right?
Yes, a very generous grant.
And now we have brand new guitars. So you're waiting for people to, play, learn.
Yep, we received a grant from the Soma's Education Foundation, and the reason for the grant was to create a curriculum where students would have hand-on experience about music history through guitar. I mean, there are many wonderful instruments that a child can play. Piano, I think, is something, personally, I'm saving piano for my retirement. I play piano a little, but I want to play it much better, and I'm saving that for when I retire. But in the meantime, many people have guitars in their home. So a student comes to me for lessons and they say, hey, my mom has a guitar in the attic. So I'll show them a couple things and they go home, and now mom and child are talking, or dad and child are talking about when they played guitar. So parents are having a dialogue with their children with music as the catalyst, which is a wonderful experience. But what I've done is I've created online guitar lessons so that students can play the guitar.
Is that also on the radio or
Yes,
the net?
yes it is.
Okay, can we take a look at that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little bit more. Let's see, is that?
Yep.
Yes, we are back. Okay, we're gonna go up to guitar. Let's go to rock guitar, because it's
Good.
fun.
Yeah, that's
rock
fun.
guitar is fun.
Yeah.
Now,
They're warm.
what happens is students are going to learn about playing music, okay? So we're going to go to a video lesson where students are going to actually watch my hand. This is a multimedia. You have the fret bar here, which
Showing the
simulates
position,
where
yeah.
the fingers
The
go.
chord is, yeah.
You have the notation here with a little blue dot, and it floats across the screen so the students know where they are. We have the description of the purpose of the lesson, all happening at the same time.
And then your hands moving. Okay.
And the video of my hand moving. And of course, the description of the lesson. Okay, so once they've learned how to play the scale, then they can go up to, I'm sorry, I was going to look at the screen for a second. There's actually a button here that when they click on this button, that's just what I call a jam track. In other words, after you've learned a skill, you want to use it. You want to, teach it.
Right.
So the whole idea behind teaching a skill is to apply it.
Right.
So if you don't have a band to play with, who are you going to apply it to? So on the website, I have a little a simulation of a band. So I've created, I've synthesized the band so that students can play. So now they have a rock ballad, and after they've learned the scale, they just play along with it, and now they're not playing alone, and it becomes fun.
It becomes part of it.
Now, there are different styles. This is obviously a power ballad, something softer. If they want to play something a little more heavy, they want to get a little more challenging. And of course, the kids love this. They think it's fun.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun,
But
dun.
you know what? I've been told by
That
some
sounds
of my
like Elvis Presley, one of the music.
I've been told by some of my students that their parents are using it too.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice to see them excited about it. So the other thing is that they're learning about history because now they're learning about the styles of the period. They're learning about what was happening in history during this time. They're learning about different musicians. Let's find out about Eric Clapton. So there's an overview about Eric Clapton's life, and it says what kind of guitar he played and what groups he played with and a little bit of information about him. And then you can actually look at some of his music. Now, this is a visual representation. I believe students nowadays learn with their eyes.
Oh, yes.
You know, I don't know if they hear, but I don't know if they listen. So what I've done is I've developed a way of teaching students to hear called a call chart. So what happens is they see the music,
Sight learning,
color-wise, yes. So in other words, when they hear a melody, they don't know it's a melody, but I tell them, okay, every time you hear a melody, that's yellow. Every time you hear the guitar player playing a solo, that's pink. Every time that the song is either beginning or ending, or they have an interlude, that is blue.
This is sort of like the Wii game that you heard
Exactly,
of it, right?
yes.
You have these kind of sort of color coding for music somehow. I'm not really into those kind of things, but I've seen people play Wii.
Exactly.
Right?
But the main thing is that there's a consistency. Now, if you look at my classical curriculum, the color scheme I use in my classical curriculum is exactly the same as I use in my jazz or my rock or my, or my guitar. So that students, as they develop every year in a different course, they start to understand and they start to, recall the previous memories.
Very good, very good. Well, as we talked about inviting children, kids to the show to perform. In fact, we did arrange one drummer, but he's unfortunately caught the flu, right? So we're going to reschedule.
Yeah.
And we hope that you, through this show, and people know that we welcome children to come here and to perform whatever they like to do.
I'd like to give a little shout out to him if possible. Can
Yes,
I?
sure.
John, I'm really sorry you couldn't be here today. John Schiff is now a 9th grader. Last year as an 8th grader, I introduced him to some technology, and I asked him to compose a song because he's so active with his drums. He has a whole cellar full of drums. It's like a wraparound set. It's just very impressive. He also has world drums, electronic drums, and he was able to create an 18-track studio recording over 61,000 notes. For a 4-minute song. And I can't wait for him to come out and share it with you.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't want to play it here. I want him to show it. But he was my first attempt at a student project, an individual project. I guided him, I gave him the tools, and then I said, let's see what you can create.
Yes.
And
So sort of embracing the technology into music.
yes, and he's definitely been an inspiration for students coming in after him because they remember at our spring concert we played his song, and now I have students saying, when do I get my chance? So I think it's wonderful.
Our studio is not very big, but certainly you now know the size of our studio. Whatever you think that can fit in here, instrument, people, so on, by all means, you suggest to me, we'll try to accommodate as much as we can, okay?
Very good.
And that's where we're here for. Now, anything else that happening in school? School just started, New Year. What's your, New Year's music program ahead?
Well, this year's sixth grade band is very, very large. I'm very, very pleased.
How many people?
Oh, we have probably 52.
52 in sixth
in
grade.
just the 6th grade band. Yep.
Wow.
And the 7th and 8th grade combined is about the same size. But when you put them all together, they make quite a good sound. Our goal this year is that we're going to take them to the New York State New York State Large Ensemble Festival, bring the whole band to a state competition for a rating. And then probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we're hopefully going to take them to a competition at Six Flags Great Adventure.
I see.
The
What
kids will
time
like
frame
that.
are those events?
Late April and early May.
I see. So you do have
We have a
quite
full year to
full year to
prepare.
prepare, to practice. That's very good, yeah.
But the really interesting thing is how they're preparing now. We have a program called Smart Music, where students learn or they practice along with a computer.
Yeah.
So they hear a recording of the band
Yeah.
while they're playing their part. So this way they know how they fit in, because sometimes a student will practice and they don't know
Yeah.
if they're practicing it the right way.
And also with technology now, they can record them and then listen to themselves and so forth. They can
Absolutely.
really get this sort of like a feedback loop, which is missing to understand what they did right or wrong, right?
Well, assessment is an integral part of any good education. If you write a story and the teacher gives you comments and then you take it and you do a rewrite and then they give you more comments, the goal is to perfection. But the feedback is very important, and the fact that the student can have that feedback immediately through technology is going to streamline the education process. But it doesn't replace good teaching.
Right.
It's there as a guide. It's not there as a teacher.
Not only that, but the personal sort of a motivation factor, it can never be replaced by computer.
No,
right? And
I hope
think
not.
It's just that human touch. And I wish I had a good music teacher when I was young and sort of get me into music. Although there's some circumstances because just we didn't have that kind of a luxury. I would say today, if anybody has opportunity, really should go for it. And a teacher is important. I mean, to motivate kids to get into music.
Well, I have to say, I look at my colleagues, Mrs. Wozniak and Mrs. Rossini on strings and on chorus. I mean, the door is always open. I know they have the same policy as me. If a student came to me on June 23rd, it was the last day of the school year, and they wanted to play a trumpet, I would put a trumpet in their hand. Because the day the student has the interest, you have to give them that opportunity.
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, we had the chamber music musicians here during the finals the last semester.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. So I think this is a nice thing about our school, our system here, that kids do enjoy learning, and it's not really under sort of just stress, study and study and study. There's a lot of things you learn, not necessarily by sort of a study.
Right.
So that's really great. Now, you also have the fife and drum, which is throughout the schools from what
5 through 12.
Yeah, 5 to 12, right? And you now have this guitar. And so where do you find all these hours to do all of this?
I have a very patient wife. I do. Basically, we have band program before school from 7:40 to 8:20. And then we have the regular teaching day.
Yeah.
And then we have some rehearsals that go after school till the late bus. And the kids and the parents have been very supportive, and they attend, and we go to different functions. But I really think that it's because of these opportunities, these functions, to go to Great Adventure.
Yeah.
We're talking about the fife and drum going to Boston this year. Imagine
Great.
playing revolutionary music
That's
at
fantastic.
the Mayflower or at Old North Church or at Bunker Hill. I'm blessed to work with a
And we
a
are
colleague.
blessed that the Somers that now have teachers like you and school.
I have a
these kind of
colleague
programs.
named Bill Winnicky.
Yeah.
Bill Winnicky does the Living History program.
Right, Living History.
And the Living History, the fife and drum came out of Living History. He asked me one night, he says, could you bring a flute down and play Yankee Doodle? They were having some kind of an awards dinner for his Living History.
Yeah.
And I said, I can do better than that.
Great.
And the next thing you knew, it grew from 2 kids with flutes to 50 students playing at the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. When you are talking on my show, time flies. I swear. That's always. Everybody surprised. Half an hour is over.
Really?
Yeah. So, we'll get you back again. All right?
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming here, and we're certainly looking forward to many, many other occasions to bring kids and so on.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, these half an hour just went by very fast. Every guest that we invite somehow always have the feelings, oh, the half an hour is gone. Yes, it is. And we will have next our game show. And today, because we had a rescheduling of the drum and performance and so on, so the next half an hour we will have a special. That special is only offered by me.